Hi, and welcome to Old Time Knowledge. Well, it's been since around Christmas time since I did a video. The last one I did was on shortbread cookies, and they are amazing, y'all. So just if you like shortbread cookies, go watch that video. I just can't recommend them highly enough. What I'm going to talk about today, though, is not a new and creative recipe. I have been needing to find time to do this. I have been so busy between my work and between trying to just be prepared. I just have hardly had any time. So I have a business. I'm a website developer, so I stay really busy with that. But that means I have to use the time that I spend, for instance, on this channel and things like that wisely, or any spare time that I have to use wisely. I have been spending the last few weeks trying to make sure our pantry is stocked, trying to make sure our refrigerator and freezer and our all of our household items are stocked and everything. I did a video before the last one in December where I talked about food shortages, where I talked about not being able to get brand name saltines at any local stores. I went online, bought some from Amazon. I thought, oh, good. I was able to get some saltines from Amazon, but they came and then they were set to expire in January. So they're old stock. And I think a lot of stores are selling old stock right now. Over a couple of weeks, I had problems buying chicken breasts. You weren't able to get chicken breasts. This week, I wasn't able to get chicken thighs. I don't know if it's that they're rationing what parts of the chicken you could get at certain times, but that's just the situation that we have around here. Y'all, I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people that are having all kinds of problems getting the things that are on their grocery list. I'm hearing about people who go to the grocery store with a list, but they end up having to buy completely different things and planning different meals because they weren't able to get the things that they were going to buy. I can't even begin to tell you how rough the produce looks that I've been seeing recently. When I do see fresh produce, it is kind of sad looking. Unless it's things like local collards and things like that at the local Piggly Wiggly. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about though is to encourage you all, if you're not already, to, the video I posted back in December got thousands of views. Most of my videos don't get thousands of views. Most of them get in the hundreds, and that's fine. I'm perfectly happy with that. But the fact that that video got into thousands of views tells me people are really interested in this topic. People have their minds on this topic. Sure enough, there have been entire channels that have sprung up dealing with this topic. One comes to mind is Popular Preparedness. I recommend that channel highly. Every day, sometimes twice a day, Steve Poplar posts videos where he talks about shortages that his viewers are reporting either in his comments or via email. And there are all kinds of shortages all over the country, y'all. And sometimes you'll hear about shortages and you're like, well, I don't have shortages with that. But then sure enough, in your own area, you'll start seeing the same shortages. It's pretty wild. But between inflation, prices being through the roof, and between all the bare shelves we're seeing in stores, I just think at this point, it's almost too late to really get stocked up. Just do the best you can. I will tell you that the grocery stores that are the higher price grocery stores are going to have more things. They tend to not be out of as much. And it's not because they're better and they just have more stuff. It's that not as many people shop at those stores because they're expensive. And especially with inflation, that's what I'm guessing anyway. But the stores where the prices tend to be lower, either the prices are going up a lot or they don't have things. So the smart thing for you to do is going to be to stock up. And I want to suggest something, if you haven't already done it, that you really give this some serious consideration, and that is start canning. Start canning. You can pick up a canner. You can pick one up online. You might can pick one up at your local Walmart or your local Ace Hardware, something like that. But start canning. I'm not talking about jams and jellies and pickles. That's fine. That's all nice and well and good. I'm talking about real food that you have in your pantry that you can have as ingredients to make, home cooked meals for your family. That's what I have been busy doing recently. I've been canning so many things. I have been my stove's been hopping and humming and just staying busy canning. I've been canning chicken and pork and beef. I've been doing beef stew. I've been doing chili. In fact, I recorded a video for chili yesterday, which I will be posting soon. I just need to edit that together. I have been canning so many different things. There's a lot of things that you can put up in your pantry like that. Sometimes people will go to the store and they'll buy pre-packaged canned foods. I like knowing exactly what is in the foods that I can. I like knowing the conditions in which they were canned. And it just makes me happy to know that I'm able to put up, 10 pints of chicken or 10 pints of chili or 10 pints of pork or whatever. You can do it in quarts if you want. It's mostly my son and I, and so I only need pints most of the time. But it's roughly a pound of meat for a pint jar. And so it makes it very easy to sort of figure out how much you need to make sure you're stocked up for, say, 3 weeks, a month and a half, 3 months. You can figure it out from there. Plus you can get canned vegetables that are pre-canned. That's you can certainly do that. You can also can some vegetables. I personally like to have a lot of vegetables in my freezer. The only reason why I don't keep a lot of meats in my freezer is if I'm in a hurry, I don't want to have to thaw something out in the microwave, and I might not always think about taking it out of the freezer beforehand. I do keep some things in the freezer, some meats in the freezer, but also I don't have a chest freezer, so my freezer only holds so much. I tend to keep more vegetables in there because those are the kinds of things that I'm more likely to be able to quickly take out and add as a side dish to a meal. So I know you're not watching this because you hear about the kinds of things I keep in my kitchen, but I'm just saying, if you haven't already done it, consider canning. If you have done it before and you haven't done it in a long time, it might be time to pull some of that stuff out and start canning again. There are some great new recipes. I got a new cookbook for Christmas. It's the ball canning cookbook from just a few years ago, but I didn't have it because the one I had, oh y'all, it's probably 20 years old. But the one that I was given for Christmas is a more recent one, and it had new recipes in it. I was so glad to see them. And so there's all kinds of different things that you can now to have on your pantry shelf. And let me just give you an example about what you can do with some of this stuff. If I have a pint of chicken breast, whether it's raw packed chicken breast, which is like super, just like shreddable chicken, or whether I have hot packed chicken breast, which is chicken breast that's been diced up and then cooked and then put into jars with broth. They have a little bit different consistency when you take them out of the jars, but I can do chicken and pastry, chicken and rice soup. I can do any sort of chicken casseroles, taquitos. I can do chicken salad. That's another thing. Not to mention, there's just so many things, all different kinds of chicken soups and stuff, y'all. Chicken pot pie. There's just a lot of things. When you're talking about beef, it's the same thing. You can do either you can can pot roast, or you can can the beef, and then you can use fresh vegetables that you have, like potatoes and things, to quickly put together a pot roast in under an hour that might have taken you hours to cook otherwise. Or you can do things like can entire meals, or meal starters. Like I've got quarts of beef stroganoff, which is great. I can take out a jar of that, pour it into a pot on the stove, add a couple of tablespoons of flour. In no time, it's ready. I can serve it over rice or potatoes or pasta, noodles, add the dollop of sour cream, and it's great. It tastes like it took a long time to cook. And here it was, something that I just planned ahead. I've got them canned up and in my pantry. There are so many good soups that are going to be way better for you than the stuff that you're going to get from the store, the big brand names of soups and stuff like that. So I just really want to encourage you, if you're not canning, to start canning. Dehydrating is also great. I think that's something I don't do as much of. So I don't tend to, I have a nice dehydrator, but I just don't do as much of that. But that's another thing that you can do. But the main thing is, regardless of whether you feel like canning or whether you feel like dehydrating or any of it, make sure you're stocked up. Make a goal to, like, if you haven't already, make sure you have at least 3 weeks of food for your family. If things were shut down again like they were in March of 2020 and you weren't able to go to the store, make sure you have everything on hand that you would need to take care of your family for 3 solid weeks, as though you couldn't go to a store. Once you've gotten 3 weeks, at that point you can just keep adding on, and then you'll have enough stuff to get you through longer. And the goal isn't to just have the stuff and just keep it sitting on your pantry shelf. The goal is to have the stuff and be buying things that you actually use. So you're rotating through it all the time, you know. You don't want things to just sit on your shelf and just get old and get stale and things. You want to actually be using them. And that way, no matter when you use some, you shouldn't have anything on your shelf, hopefully, that's more than say yeah, like a year old or something like that, because you're using it and then you're replenishing things as the numbers dwindle down. So I wanted to mention that. I wanted to say that that needs to happen. Bare shelves are an issue. It's, you know, inflation's an issue. This is a midterm election year. Some people got mad at me for saying that in the video that I had in December. They wanted to criticize the fact that I mentioned the fact that it's a midterm election year, and you know, what is political as a fact. It is a fact. It is a midterm election year, and people do get crazy in midterm election years. Politicians are desperate to either gain power or hold on to power, and they don't care who they step on to do it, unfortunately, more often than not. We know what kinds of we know what kinds of garbage we were put through during the last election in the name of trying to save us all from this, you know, thing. Um, it was total nonsense, and who knows what they're going to come up with this year? Who knows? Who knows? But all I can say is be responsible. You know, in Proverbs, we're told, consider the ant and be wise. I would like to think we're smarter than ants, but what the Lord is telling us there is the ant doesn't need to have a commander or a general or a captain to tell it, hey, go get food and put it up for the winter. No, an ant just knows to do that because that's how it survives. All kinds of animals do that. Squirrels do it. They get a bunch of nuts and they put them in their little squirrel houses, and they're in the trees and nests has squirrel houses. Then their little squirrel nests in the trees, and they make sure they have plenty. All kinds of animals prepare, and we certainly should be smart enough to do that. I've said it in other videos, but if you're new here, you don't know. But I do come from a family that my grandparents farmed on both sides of the family. We're really rural people. We've grown up in a more farm type setting. Well, I grew up in a city, but then I came back. So, but the point is that it's just normal for us to be prepared. It's normal for us to have things on hand. This isn't a trendy thing that we do. This is not something that we started doing because we heard about it and it was cool. No, for us, it's just like a way of life. You know, it's just irresponsible if you don't have stuff put back for your family for hard times or for whatever might come up. You don't know if you might get sick, you know, or not, and not be able to get out and go do your shopping. If you don't know if we'll have another shutdown. I mean, you just don't know. So you just want to be prepared for anything. And that's not just food, that's detergent, toilet paper, paper towels, dish soap, you know, basically anything that you might need to take care of your household for an extended period of time. Try to be responsible and have that stuff put up. It's just the grown-up thing to do. It's just the adult thing to do. I totally get it that there are some of you who might really be on shoestring budgets. You can still do this. You can still do this. You can get a little bit at a time. I know the prices at Dollar Tree have gone up to $1.25 now in a lot of places, but there are all kinds of things that you can stock that you can put up on a budget. Just set a little bit aside each week and just try to get some things and make sure you're putting stuff up. And you know, I'm going to be linking, as I said in the description below, I'm going to be linking some videos for canning. I'm going to be linking some other resources in the description below also, because I want to make sure we're all on the same page. I want to make sure that everyone who's watching my channel knows and that y'all are prepared. I bet a lot of you already are. I'm probably preaching to the choir here. But if this is something that, you know, this has not really been on your radar and you've not been thinking about it, I really want to get you to think about it. I want to get you to think about the fact that all over the country, people are seeing their grocery stores and there are shelves that are bare. They are shifting around product in grocery stores to make it look like they have more merchandise than they do by putting things in sections where they don't even belong and bringing out old stock and, you know, and things like that. That's another thing. When you do go to the grocery store and buy things, especially if it's really like pantry staple type things, check the dates, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of old stock out there because that's all that they have that they can put out. They haven't been getting a lot of new stock in on a lot of things. So I'm just telling you, I'm telling you. I want to know what you all think. So I hope you'll leave some comments below and let me know. And we're gonna get through this, y'all. You know, we just have to be smart about it, and we have to manage our money well. This is not a time to go into debt. This is not a time to buy those, frivolous purchases that you don't really need. Make a suggestion. I'm going to make a suggestion. When you get your tax return this year, if you get a refund, don't just blow it on something. This might be a good time for you to use that for something that would be wise as a preparation, as a thing for preparation. I know with the stimulus money that we got, I got us a generator, and because that's something that I think is a smart thing to have, right? It's not a fun thing, it's not an exciting thing, but it's something that makes me feel more prepared. And where we live on the coast, and we have a lot of hurricanes. Every year we're going to be having hurricane warnings. We have hurricanes coming through regularly. And so having a generator makes sense for me. So that was something that I did, not a fun thing. We didn't take a trip with that stimulus money. We didn't just go on a shopping spree. I got a generator. So we have to make grown-up decisions sometimes, y'all. And with inflation, this is not the time to be getting into debt. I'm going to link a bunch of channels below about people who know a lot more than me. I'm obviously not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you as a friend. I'm just trying to help everybody to think about things in a realistic way. So I hope this is helpful. And as I said, I hope that you will leave some comments below. Be on the lookout. I will be posting that chili video soon where I'm showing how I make chili. I divert from the recipe a little bit, but not in any kind of a dangerous way. I add a little bit more of some things and use a little less of some things, and it all works out just fine. And I will be posting other videos, but thank you so much for taking the time to listen and to watch, and I will look forward to reading your comments. So see you again soon. Bye-bye.